I'm David Tabner, and this is one of the themes I build in. It is narrow gauge trains using the normal old 9-volt track system, but instead of minifigs setting the scale, I used the 1990s Technicfigs. I've used a mixture of 9-volt and power functions to power them. As you can see, some of the steam trains and that have the big wheels from like the Toy Story train and Emerald Knight and so on. And in looking at narrow gauge, it allows you to capture more detail because the trains are bigger than the ordinary Lego size trains.
So that the Technicfigs can fit into there.
Yeah.
Do the trains work?
Yeah, they do work. They do run. I've had some of them, the sand green Ruston and at the back there. She was the first one I built, and that was probably about 10 years ago. It's been a little evolving project over the years, a new loco or such, a new bit of rolling stock, or in the case of the carriages, I cut them down because they were full-length bogie carriages before, and they were just too heavy for the track, and the wheel sets have a habit of going sub-gauge when taking heavy weight.
Right. So tell me a little bit about the Technicfigs, because these are quite unusual. We don't see them very often, do we?
Yeah, I think they were produced from the end of the 80s right into the early noughties for Technic sets. Hence you can see the Technic pinholes in their legs.
Yes, I noticed that.
They have full articulation, which is nice, in fact even beyond full human articulation. And yeah, you can pose them much more than you can a minifig. It makes them a bit more lifelike.
Yeah, because in a way the faces look a little bit more like the Friends minifigs, the mini dolls.
Yeah.
But the poses are, they do look much more interesting, albeit way bigger than the minifigs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in a way you could say they sort of evolved into the Belleville figures, which are almost the same size. But of course the Belleville was designed for girls, and Technic in those days was of course definitely aimed for the boys.
Yeah, and I noticed there are no girls.
No, it's only men. You had men with black hair or men with brown hair, or later on they produced, I think it was part of Slicers or something, the sort of cyborgs.
Which I saw there at the very beginning over there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you got one cyborg, but again, just men. It's a shame that they didn't fully continue, because actually that is quite an original. It just, when I saw your display, that's what popped out really. I said, oh, what are these? How can these be Lego? Because I did not know about them.
Yeah, they've kind of been lost to history for the most part, and really they don't have much value now. So there's a lot of stuff that's historic Lego that goes for silly prices now.
Yeah. But
I can still pick these guys up quite cheap, and I think I've got pretty much every one they've produced now, at least one of. But there weren't that many, so it's a nice thing to collect.
No, absolutely. It's a little bit of piece of history, and it's quite unusual because I haven't seen anybody display anything like this.
Yeah, well, I'm not actually the first to display to this scale. Tim David did about 12 years ago, and he kind of started it. Ian Scott up in the north also does narrow gauge. Similar style of applications to me, but his build style is significantly different to mine. So we've done a couple of collaborative shows in previous years, collaborative displays rather, and our trains look nicely distinct from each other, which is good.
Which is good, yes. Yeah. And you've got a house here as well, just built to scale.
Yep. The house, well, basically the idea with this layout is that it fits into 3 K5 standard Lego size boxes. The house is built so that it's a shell that when you take the roof off and the chimney away, it fits exactly into the inside extreme of the one of the K5, so I can fit everything else inside it.
Right, so it's like a storage box in a sense.
But it also adds effectively a third dimension to the layout in being quite tall and bulky.
It does, yeah. No, that's brilliant. Any chance we can see it working? Or is that...
Not this weekend, unfortunately.
All right, fair enough.
Bring the control gear with me.
Well, I really wanted to catch this because it is an unusual one, and I don't know if many people are aware that these Technicfigs existed.
Yeah.
So,
well, these guys tend to get out to about 3 or 4 shows a year, and I have a design for a new loco, which I'll hopefully be building the next couple of weeks, and I do Brickvention in Australia every January, and so one of these pieces of rolling stock usually goes there.
You go to Australia?
Yeah.
That's a long way.
It is, but it's Australia's biggest show out there, and it's great, and it's in the middle of their summer, while it's in the middle of our winter, so I get that break. But there's a chap out there called Alexander McCook, who is another premium train builder, but he also goes big in narrow gauge. He puts a lot more effort into his models than I do, though.
Well, I'm impressed with what you've done, so don't knock yourself short.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for showing it to me.
Thanks.